So yesterday my brother and I were talking about TV shows, and lately in my free time I've been watching TV shows. So here's a video with my top TV shows. There happens to be 10. There just happens to be 10. Two of them kind of go together. So this is my favorite TV shows. First, I'm starting off though with my favorite, because I'm not really going to talk about it too much. I would save it until the end, but I might as well get it out of the way. My favorite TV show is Twin Peaks, if you didn't know. Twin Peaks is my favorite thing, like, specifically, and I just can't go, like, a day without mentioning it. Like, somehow, I'm that person who can, like, anything we're talking about, somehow I'll be able to mention Twin Peaks. Like, something will remind me of Twin Peaks in some way, and I don't know why. I have this notebook here, by the way, with the shows and, like, some information. So, Twin Peaks is my favorite show. It aired from 1990 to 1991. There's only 2 seasons. It was on ABC. But then last year there was like the continuation, like the 3rd season. That was on Showtime. Again, I'm not going to talk about it a lot because Saturday, the 24th, February 24th, is one of the Twin Peaks days, and I'm thinking of doing like a sort of a vlog style video and talking about Twin Peaks. Because Twin Peaks, like, the day in the show that it like starts is February 24th, so that's why it's like one of the Twin Peaks days. Yeah, and I always watch the pilot on Twin Peaks Day. So I'm thinking of like kind of doing like a vlog-ish video. Yeah, so I'm gonna do a video about Twin Peaks basically. Yeah. So that's it. That's all I'm gonna say about Twin Peaks. Except for that, it's my favorite show. You should watch it. It's my favorite show. It's my favorite thing. It's on Netflix. I think it's on, like, everything, actually. I only looked up if things were on Netflix. So, yeah. Then, I guess if I had, like, a second favorite show, it'd probably be The Killing. This was on from 2011 to 2014 as 4 seasons. It was originally on AMC, and then Netflix picked it up for, like, a final season, it's only, like, 6 episodes, I think. This is so good. Like, I feel like this is a really underrated show. It's really similar to Twin Peaks in a way, because it's like this girl goes missing, and then it's the detectives like trying to figure out what happened to her, and then also you're like following the family and like other people who like live in the town. It's less of like a small town show though, and more of like a city show. I remember being like really into every episode, but especially at the end, I'm pretty sure it's like the first 2 seasons are one case, and then the 3rd season is another, and then the 4th is one final one. But like the end of the 2nd season, like the first 2 seasons are definitely better, I think, than the other 2 seasons, than the rest of the show. But like I just remember being like blown away by the finale, or at least like the last few episodes when you like actually find out what happened. Yeah. I think it's so underrated. I don't know. I think I only know like one person who talks about it. Then what was my favorite show before Twin Peaks was Heroes. And this was on from 2006 to 2010. It has 4 seasons. It was on NBC. Heroes used to be on Netflix. It's not on Netflix anymore. I don't know why. Sometimes Netflix takes away shows and I don't understand. Like, I know it has to do with like rights and licensing, but why? Anyway, Heroes used to be my favorite show. This is probably the only like question mark on the list because I haven't seen it since it was like on. It was like 2008, I think, maybe 2009, when my brothers and I just like binged everything that was out at the time, and so I haven't seen it since then. But this is another one of those shows that I remember after every episode, like the end of the episode, it would say to be continued, and my brothers and I would just be like, what just happened? And we had to play the next one. I remember staying up really, really late, like really late for like a 13-year-old, you know? But I remember staying up really late watching Heroes with my brothers. And I love the characters with this one. Heroes is about people who have superpowers, basically. And this is one of those shows that you can kind of tell where it's going and where it's gotten inspirations from, because there's like the people with superpowers, but then the corporation that's trying to figure out how they got their abilities and do experiments on them and use them. Well as I think that the abilities are really interesting. Like a lot of them have abilities, have powers that you're like, who came up with that? Who came up with that? And instead of just like the typical like, oh, I have strength and I'm really fast and just like I'm invisible. I don't know. Just kind of typical. Another favorite show is Friday Night Lights. This was on from 2006 to 2011 on NBC. It has 5 seasons and it's on Netflix. I think a lot of people, I think a lot of these shows you've probably heard of and probably know what they're about. But Friday Night Lights is about a football coach, high school football coach, and like that's it. It's about him and his family and his relationship with the team, and then you get to know the team members as well and their each of their situations. This is definitely one of those shows that I like a lot because of the characters. Like, I'm a sports person, and I like it's one of my favorite shows, but I could not care less about sports. One thing that I do really like about the show as well is that it involves a lot of like serious topics within the show, but it's really part of the show and not just used as some sort of gimmick or message for like 2 episodes. Penny Dreadful is another favorite. This is also on Netflix. It was only on for 3 seasons from 2014 to 2016 on Showtime, and this is one that like people didn't know was ending. It just at like the end at the end, and we were like, wait, what? This is the series finale? I thought this was just season 3 finale. But I think it had a good run, and I think it had a good ending. I would have liked to see more still, as well as I would like to see like a really similar show. So the thing that intrigued me the most about the show is that it involves all these characters from like classic like horror literature, like classic gothic literature. And even if it doesn't involve the characters, there's also like lots of homages to other things, which Penny Dreadful's probably going to be the show that I talk about the most, just because I can mention so many things. I really love reading, and for most of my life, I feel like classics has been what I have mostly read. And so I saw the trailer for this. Oh, 2 things actually. Ava Green, because I love Ava Green. It's spelled like Eva, but it's pronounced Ava. I saw that she was in something and I was like, oh, well, I have to watch it. But then I also watched the trailer and I recognized the names from classic literature, and I was like, oh my god, I have to watch it. So Ava Green plays a character, Vanessa Ives. She's made up for the show. She's not like from anything. There's also Sir Malcolm Murray, who's like Mina Harker's dad, who I don't think is actually named in Dracula. He's just like a character that we've come to know from Dracula. And then Mina Murray, kind of, she can go by both names. She's briefly in episodes. She was like best friends with Vanessa, and so she's mostly in like flashbacks. Then there's also Dorian Gray. I can't forget Dorian Gray. Dorian Gray was like also a major intrigue because The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde is probably my favorite classic pre-1900. Victor Frankenstein. He's my favorite character on the show, which was interesting because I thought it would be Dorian Gray, but it's Victor Frankenstein. And so, of course, with Victor Frankenstein, you have the monster or the creature, which is great. He's played by Rory Kinnear, and he does a really good job. And then there's also like, I think in the first season, the creature or the monster, whatever you prefer to call him, I guess, he gets a job working like backstage at a theater, and so it kind of gives off this Phantom of the Opera vibe. And then in the second season, he gets a job at a wax museum. That sounds so weird. If you haven't watched the show and you're just like, the monster gets a job at a wax museum and a theater, but he does. He gets a job at a wax museum in the second season, and so it kind of gives you like House of Wax vibes, and also like the story from Edgar Allan Poe. Kind of a spoiler. So I'm gonna put my notebook up, and when I put it down, then it's no longer spoilery information. Okay, so now spoilery information. Ethan Chandler is one of the characters, but then you find out that his real name's not really Ethan Chandler. I forget what it is. I forget what it is, but he's the Wolfman. And I feel like that's a pretty obvious thing, but he's the Wolfman, so that's not based on literature, but it also gives off or has like inspiration from like the Universal classic monsters, which you can see with like Phantom of the Opera. What else? Dracula, of course, is a character, but I'm being like vague about things now. Also, oh shoot, what's the doctor's name? The Doctor, which I didn't even know was like a character from Dracula until I read Dracula after I had already watched Penny Dreadful. Jekyll is a character. Only in the third season, very briefly. He's like, he's a associate. Like they studied together. Victor Frankenstein and Dr. Jekyll, which is interesting. I like that. I like that. Like that they're like schoolmates. Schoolmates. And there's one more. Well, there's also. Oh my God, there's so many characters. There's Sembene. Who I still don't even know that much about him. Like I've seen the entire show, and I just feel like he's still a big mystery to me. There's Brona Croft, who she's kind of a spoilery character. So again, I'm gonna put the notebook up. She's a prostitute who has consumption or tuberculosis, and then she dies at the end of the first season, and then she becomes like the bride of Frankenstein. So she's Helen McCrory's character. She's like a psychic. She's like a psychic. Psychic slash witch slash trying to marry Lucifer. And oh my God, what's her name? Madam something. I can't remember the character's name about Penny Dreadful, but the main premise is like these. It's kind of a mix between the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and something else. It's kind of like a different kind of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Is Orphan Black, which just ended last year. It was on from 2013 to 2017 as 5 seasons. This was on BBC America. So I know this one, I watched this on Amazon Prime. So I know it's on that. And I think you can watch it on there on BBC America's website as well. Of course, like with Penny Dreadful, it was on Showtime. So you can watch it on like Showtime Anytime or whatever it's called. Orphan Black. I'm going to be like kind of vague about this one. It's about clones. That's like the basic premise. It's about clones. It starts off with Sarah, who, well, I won't get into like too much about her character, but basically it starts off and she's at the train station, and then she sees this woman who looks exactly like her, and then she throws herself in front of a train. And then Sarah takes her like purse and like her belongings that she left behind and tries to like steal her identity and steal like money from her so that she can start over with her daughter. But then she finds out like through things that happen, she finds out that she's a clone, which is crazy, but awesome because Tatiana Maslanay is Queen. She plays, oh my God, I should have counted. She plays like 16 characters. Like, it's ridiculous. Throughout the series, she probably plays like 8 characters, like thoroughly throughout the entire series. Some characters just are there for like a couple of episodes. But also, oh my, see, it's just so good. You can just watch it to see Tatiana Maslanay act against Tatiana Maslanay. It's awesome. And also, Kathryn, I can't think of her last name right now. Kathryn Alexandre? Alexandra? Something like that. Again, if any corrections will be, like, in the description. But that's her, like, stunt double. And so, really, like, she's just as much a part of playing the characters as Tatiana Maslanay is. I feel bad that I messed up her name, that I don't know her last name for sure. What's even funnier is when a character pretends to be another character. And so then Tatiana Maslanay, I've said her name like 5 times, she has to play like Sarah as Cosima. You get what I'm saying? Like, those are 2 of the clones. So it just creates a lot of drama, but also a lot of like funny moments. My favorite character, my favorite clones, probably Helena and Allison. I can't decide between the 2. I can't do it. To say something about Orphan Black is that I tried to get my younger brother to watch it with me. Like, I thought about rewatching it. Like, I had finished it and I was like, I have to watch it again. And I tried to get him to watch it with me, and he wouldn't watch it after the first episode. He was like, no, this isn't good. Like, they had a low budget the first season, and it's kind of, it has some cliches and like typical, like, you can see where it's going, but it's really just setting up the storyline and the characters. Yeah. So I give it a few episodes, I say, if you don't think the pilot is like intriguing enough, which I don't understand how he wasn't intrigued. Like, don't you want to know about the clones? We have the 2 shows that go together, Buffy and Angel. So Buffy was on from 1997 to 2003. It has 7 seasons. It started off on the WB and then went to UPN in 2001, which UPN and like the WB, I think, like merged and now it's the CW. And then Angel was on the WB. It has 5 seasons. It was on from 1999 to 2004. So these go together. I think Angel really isn't talked about that much. Like, I know people who love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory with the title of the show. But not enough people, I feel like, talk about Angel. And I actually haven't finished either of these shows, but it's on my list of favorite shows. Watching them, like, in continuity, like, keeping continuity, so I'm using this one website, which I'll link in the description, and it's just so that like when episodes go together, they go together. You're watching them together. Vampire Slayer is about Buffy, this teenage high school girl who finds out that she's a vampire slayer. She's the Slayer, the Slayer, and at the beginning of the show, she already knows that she's the Slayer, so it's not too much of like the trope where the character like finds out that they're part of this world that they never knew about, like, which happens a lot with like fantasy. And Angel is one of the characters from Buffy, and he leaves, I think, season 3, maybe 2. So he's only there for like a couple of seasons, and then his character moves to LA, and then that's the beginning of Angel. He starts his own like private investigations agency, just Angel, and he helps people. So these 2 go together because sometimes like Angel's case has to do with something that's in like Sunnydale, or something happens that brings up the past, or they need Angel, something, or they need Buffy, something like that. So episodes go together every once in a while. My favorite is Spike, by the way. Spike's my favorite character. Well, I do love Buffy, but I love Spike. Okay, moving on. Two more. We have The Sopranos, which was on from 1999 to 2007 on HBO. There's 6 seasons. It's The Sopranos. I feel like everyone knows what The Sopranos is about. And I thought it was going to be a good show, but I still was like overwhelmed, especially after my brother and I finished watching the show, like how good it really was. And I don't like think about it that much, but if someone were to ask me like what my favorite shows were, it's so easy for me to just be like The Sopranos in the list. Obviously, I would automatically say Twin Peaks. For some reason you don't know what The Sopranos is about. It's about Tony Soprano, who is head of the mob in the area of New Jersey that he lives in with his family, and it has to do with his family and being head of the mob, but also he has to see a psychiatrist. And so all of that entangle in certain ways, and drama ensues. And lastly, we have 6 Feet Under, which was on HBO from 2001 to 2005. It had 5 seasons, and Orphan Black, actually I cried a lot on Orphan Black, but the most I've ever cried is the series finale of 6 Feet Under. And I think that was just like, it's such a good way to end the show. And this is about, oh my god, what's their last name? Like, I should have seen it coming, and like, I knew what was happening as soon as it started. And I was just bawling the entire time. I was bawling. Yeah, this is about a family that runs a funeral home, and the dad dies, and then the kids take over for the most part, and it's just them trying to, well, one brother actually is like the only one who takes over the family business. The other one comes along eventually, and then the girl, she's in like high school, so she's not gonna be part of the funeral home. But it's just about them like picking up the pieces and seeing each other again, and then it's the father dying is like the catalyst event for the family coming back together and them living with each other again, and family. So those are my top favorite TV shows. What are your favorite shows? Have you seen any of these? Do you like them? Did you not like them? I know that, although I didn't talk about it too much, I know that Twin Peaks is not for everyone, by the way. Especially the newer season, I think. I mean, that's pure David Lynch, so, which I'll get to. Yeah, February 24th, Twin Peaks Day. I'm excited, even though I've seen the show, at 9 times, honestly. Anyway, yeah, let me know what your favorite TV shows are, and if you've seen these ones. They weren't in any order. Did I even mention that? I was just reading them off the list. So they were in no particular order. Thanks for watching, and my next video will probably be the Twin Peaks Day vlog / all about Twin Peaks. Bye.